I taught systematic theology to seminary students for almost 15 years. Now, it doesn't matter what systematic theology is, at least it seldom mattered to my students. All they wanted to know was, could I explain hard things in simple terms? So, can I? Well, that's what we're going to find out right here. No pressure. My name is Jeremy Gordon Grinnell. I have an earned PhD in systematic theology, and I spent a lot of years teaching future pastors and preaching from an actual pulpit. Then in 2013, I did something that ended with my name in the newspaper and my clerical collar off for good. I'm not going to give you the whole story today. I wrote an entire book about that one. If you want it, see the description. The details are all there, and they're not flattering. What I will tell you is the short version. It was a season of very bad choices, made worse by a depression I didn't know how to name at the time. And it cost me my pulpit, my classroom, my public reputation, and very nearly my marriage. Nearly. So why do I tell you all of this in an introduction video, which is traditionally where a person puts their best foot forward and quietly hides the other one in the fuzzy background? Well, because most of us received our faith like this, from a box. A Bible verse or a question went in one side, you know, the kind of thing. If God is so strong and good, why is there so much evil in the world? Or why does the Apostle Paul seem to not like women preachers? Whatever. And an answer would pop out the other side. And that answer would get declared from a pulpit with divine authority. But nobody ever shows you the wiring. You're just supposed to trust that the circuits inside the box are sound. That's the problem with blind faith. It's blind. But I have never yet met a blind man here or in the Bible who would not rather see. That's why the black box doesn't work. It keeps in the dark things that were meant to live in the light. True things, good things, beautiful things, hard, complicated things. Life is complicated. Why would we assume our faith should be simple? True things are hard. That's one way to know that they're true. Lies are soft. Lies are simple. True things are complicated. Medicine, complicated. Law, complicated. Physics, complicated. Where did we ever get the idea that our faith, our view of the whole world, is only satisfactory if it's simple? So when I tell you something is more complicated than it first appears, which I will have frequent calls for doing, I don't mean it as a polite way of dodging the question or brushing you off. It means exactly what your mechanic means when he tries to explain to you what's wrong with your transmission. He means, yeah, there's an answer. So here too, it's just going to take more than a wiki and a meme to dissect it. And I would rather bore you for 4 extra minutes than lie to you efficiently. I understand the problem of cheap answers because I spent years teaching future pastors and church leaders how to do the wiring in such boxes. And I think I did a pretty good job. But then my own life cracked open from the inside, and it turned out I didn't actually understand the wiring as well as I thought I did. All right, I got the details right, I think. I taught my students how to think, how to teach, defend, hold to traditional Christian orthodoxy, which I still fully endorse. What I did not understand is that there are things that can come into one's life that can cause the most earnest and committed person to take all that true information and chuck it for the sake of a momentary impulse. So, what are we doing here? Why should we spend any time together? Well, simply put, because lots of people talking about the Christian faith on the internet fall into one of two categories. They're either posers, people who've read a theology book or a few Wikipedia pages and are thus convinced that they've mastered the material, like a doctor who never bothered to go to med school, or they really are qualified experts in all this, but so much so that they struggle to admit that even experts are often just guessing. Well, I'm neither of those. I'm a wee bit of a theological unicorn because I've put in my 10,000 hours to master this stuff, and I'm exhibit A of its limitations. And I've got nothing to lose by admitting when I'm wrong or just unsure. I've titled our time together, Beyond the Black Box, Christianity for Those of Us Who Got Left Behind. So understand, I am not recruiting. I've got nothing to recruit you to because I'm one of those the church left behind. I just want to show you the wiring diagram. I want to show you why biblical, historical, Orthodox Christianity does matter, how it still makes sense, and how it really can work out there. My only hope here is that I can help you to find some. Hope, that is. Hope that the deep structure of life, the universe, and everything is both sufficiently knowable and purpose-filled to provide meaning throughout this organized chaos we call life. As much as I adore Douglas Adams' work, I believe we can get to a better answer than 42. Well, a little more about me, because fair's fair. I'm a husband to Denise, who lived through and has read every word I've ever written about the worst year of my life, and for reasons I can't fathom, stayed anyway. She has taught me more about grace and unconditional love than any sermon I've ever heard or preached. I'm a father of 4 young kids. I've written a young adult fantasy series called The Relics of Eris, which has nothing to do with theology, mostly. I narrate audiobooks under the name Gordon Greenhill, so somewhere out there, right now, somebody is falling asleep to my voice reading a novel I didn't write, hopefully not driving a car. Oh, I maintain a fairly serious online C.S. Lewis image archive, details in the description, that deserves its own channel someday and is absolutely not going to get folded into this one no matter how badly I want to talk about Paralandra. Every time we get together, we're going to pull something out of the black box for consideration. A slice of Christian theology, a verse people quietly dread, a question nobody wants to ask aloud in a small group. I'm not really trying to build a content feed. Subscribe and smash that like button. I'm building something closer to a mind palace, or a cathedral, where not only the truth, but the beauty, the goodness, and the messiness of the Christian faith is on full display. Last thought. My goal won't usually be to tell you which little circle of the church got the answer right, because I've learned that's not always the best way to promote understanding. It's an unalterable law of human knowledge that whenever you take a position on something, you gain some things and you lose some things. Yeah, truth is important, but truth always has a cost. And I would rather you understand your options and know what you're gaining and losing by standing where you've already decided to stand. You never have to agree with me. This is a safe place with lots of trigger warnings. So if you're sitting uncomfortably in a pew and frustrated because you've never gotten the big picture, welcome. If you've walked out and haven't found a good reason to walk back in, also welcome. And if you're not religious at all and you're just here because the history and the ideas are genuinely interesting to you, welcome to you too. I would rather serve all 3 of you honestly than pander to one of you. I should clarify, there is one type of person who I'd rather not see here. Trolls. You go peddle your goods somewhere else. This is a place of reflection, discovery, and hope. So, in that spirit, let's close this little session with something that's actually worth hearing. St. Augustine, on the subject of looking for God in all the wrong places, from the Confessions. You were within me, and I was outside. I was seeking you outside myself, and disfigured as I was falling upon those lovely things you had made. Augustine spent the first third of his life doing more or less everything he would later regret. But the rest of his life on becoming one of the most important theologians the church has ever enjoyed. I haven't read him first by accident. Nobody you're going to meet here has lived a tidy life. That's rather the point of this whole enterprise. And coincidentally, the only reason I feel qualified to do it. Well, there you have it. That's the channel. And I meant what I said. I'm not here to make $1 million. I want to do something that's helpful to you. So yeah, if you want to subscribe and hit the bell, whatever, that's great. But I would much rather have you leave a comment. Tell me where you're at. What questions do you have? What would be the most useful things I could discuss? Who knows? Maybe I can get to them sooner rather than later. All right. See you next time.